Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the wonderful world of Arcanum. This is the second video in my demonstrating Masterful design series, and this time we're going to be focusing on a specific aspect in a fantastic game. This time it's the RPG Arcanum, one of my most treasured games and titles in the RPG or CRPG genre. It was produced by Troika, who are also behind the much beloved Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, a game we're all replaying given we know how trash the sequel is likely going to be, so something we're going to have to wait and see for. But what I want to show you in this particular game is an aspect of the brilliance of it, and that is the very first town in the game, Shrouded Hills. And to give you a bit of background, you start the game off in a steampunk-like airship, and then you're blown out of the sky, and then you meet your new friend, a stranger at first, Virgil, who grows into a trusted companion. Or so you think. And you venture with him to this very first town, and this is where you begin your adventure. So I want to dive in. This is a demonstration, so it is not a game review, it's not a let's play, it's more a little brief kind of snapshot of what you're going to get if you get into the game, the fun that can be had. And even if you might have played it, perhaps seeing it from the perspective of playing it for the first time, that's the way I'm going to try and present this. Hopefully it can bring you some joy as well. So now that we dive into this town, Shrouded Hills, we are presented with some fantastic architecture. Everything looks fantastic. The ambience is brilliant. You've got the incredible music. You've got the atmosphere of the town. There is a lot going on here. But some people might see this and disagree. They might go, right, this just looks like a fucking real-time strategy game. Is this just like Age of Empires? Do you build your towns? Do you do this? Absolutely not. This is completely a CRPG experience. That's what you're getting here. Back in the 90s, there were games like the original Fallout, this title, that were presented in this isometric view. Some people who are used to the 3D titles of today might not quite understand how this could be immersive, how it could be fantastic. But I'll tell you right now that it does give the developers a lot of options. This allows them to build any town to their heart's content. They can add buildings whenever they want. They can add trees. They can really add things on the fly. Whereas today, doing something like that in a town in, let's say, Witcher 3 would probably take many months, and they couldn't do something like that. So I can appreciate the simpleness of the art. It still has a lot of great elements to it. I still think it looks really, really cool, but that's to kind of counteract the fact that it doesn't look like today's game. So I want to dive in. I want to immerse myself in this and show you just how to do that. And as we enter this town, we see our first NPC. It's a human guard, and we'll have a look. "Sir," he says to us. And we get our dialogue options. And I would like to say I've just been in the most terrible blimp crash, sir. Good God, you mean the IFS Zephyr? I thought I'd heard something in the night. Where did this happen? Just up the hill. I'd recommend you bring the coroner. So we kind of dive in. We've got an NPC now. We're giving him his history, but who can we trust? This is a brand new world to us in some ways. We crashed out of the sky, remember? We don't know what's going on. This is the first village that we've come across. And now that we're here, we're trying to get our grasp on things. So my player character, he's someone that I've just used as like a pre-made. That's an option you get in this game. I wanted to present it in such a way that someone who was brand new to this title, they would do something similar. So certainly not min-maxing, not going down that road. This is the fresh experience, you could say. And as we speak to him, we can choose our options. We can get to know the townsfolk. So I'm going to answer like this. No, it seems luckless favoured only myself. "A lucky soul you are," he says, "and you've come to the right man. Bring the local constable. It will fall on me to take action. We'll have to send a party up to the site as soon as possible." Yes, I do have a few more questions though. And now we can ask him a few questions. But what I'm going to do is we're going to crack on, because I want to show you what makes this town very special. So for me, the ambience, the atmosphere, that's what's important to me about a town like this. It's the feel of the game, more so than how big is it. What are the quests? What is all that? I think in a first town, you want to kind of introduce the player to the game. You want to give them something interesting to do, but you also don't want to overwhelm them with too many tutorials, too much sort of busy work like that, because you want to be enjoying the game in these first couple of hours. In a lot of titles, for example, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, something a little bit more recent, it is full of a lot of little tutorial moments, and it doesn't always allow you to kind of immerse yourself in the game's world, because you're getting taken out of it to some degree. In Arcanum, in Shrouded Hills, you're not presented with anything like that. You're given simple quests, simple RPG mechanics, but it still feels really ingrained in the world. It makes sense, and it feels really, really special. So as we explore some of these buildings, we can see something a bit bigger here, and it's the temple door. Now, I have taken the liberty of killing the rats. Normally there would be a little bit of a fight here, but I don't want to have to kind of bore everyone with fighting like 15 rats in a room. It's not the most exciting element of the title. It's the town I want to show you. So as we get through here, we have a little dwarf technologist here, and he's operating a big machine. And this is what I mean about the graphics in this game and in this town. You get the little simple bricks, you get the simple grass textures, but then you get this awesome little machine. It makes you curious, you want to know more about it. So that really engages you to chat with this dwarf. And he asks you, do you like my steam engine? It mine. I keep it clean, it run good. Oh, yes, I see. Very, very pretty. Yes, it's shiny. See, I like steam. Steam is hot, it makes funny noise. I'm sort of changing my voice on how I do them as I go along, but it's gonna click eventually. And you say you take care of this thing. I good with machine. I fix good. You like my steam engine? It's shiny. I see. Well, it's been intellectually stimulating, but I must go. So we've learned a bit about it, and we kind of know something of some sort's going on in this town. I mean, you've got this dwarf in this temple, I suppose, who's operating this gigantic machine, what it can be, and it creates a bit of interest straight away. I'm thrust into this village, and I'm looking around, and already I've found something I'm curious about. I'm not just entering a town like you would, and I've got to say, Witcher 3 is one I criticise. It's got a lot of great elements to it, but something I don't like is while it has some fantastic towns and villages and little sort of clusters and everything throughout the game, the art team's done a fantastic job. I think the actual gameplay within that and the immersion factor is not really there. Why is that? Well, I'm going to show you firsthand, because we're going to go outside, and then we're going to take a look at the map. And the map's going to give us all the answers. Because when I bring up the map in Arcanum, I can look over the whole town, so I can see everything. But what's missing? That you will find in a Witcher 3, that you'll find in Assassin's Creed Odyssey. What is missing is the quest markers. It's missing the shop icons. The problem with Witcher, the problem with Assassin's Creed, and I won't even just limit to them, it's pretty much every modern RPG of any kind. They put icons for, say, the blacksmith. They'll put an icon for the shopkeeper. There's a couple of quests in the town. Quest arrow. Quest arrow. And I'll tell you what that means. It means that everything else in here, every other building, everything else you might look at, it's negligible. Because they've labelled on the map where the important stuff are, where the points of interest are. Is my experience of, say, let's just pretend there's a quest marker here, there's a quest marker here, and there's no quest marker here in this little hut. My exploration factor when I come down here and have a look around is going to be completely diminished if there's these other icons on the map, because I know I'm not really going to find anything really special there. And in a lot of those same games, there's not a lot of exciting loot to find, to be honest, especially not in towns. Like in Witcher 3, sure, there might be like those question marks on the map somewhere where there might be something cool I can find. But in the towns, in the villages, it's very rare that you're going to find like something really awesome in a hut like this. So why am I going to explore? I can see where all of the interesting stuff is, so why am I going to explore the town? There's no point. In Arcanum, in Shrouded Hills, I don't know. I come here, it's a complete mystery, which makes sense. I've never been here before. My character's never been here before. So of course I'm going to explore. I don't know what's going on. I want to gain in power, so from like a selfish, like forgetting the immersion for a moment, just from like my selfish point of view, I want to be getting XP. I want to be growing my character and making him stronger. How do I do that? Well, I need to find people who have tasks for me. They'll pay me. I know I'll get some XP from it, from the game point of view. So the only way I'm going to be able to do that is by exploring. There's nothing on the map telling me where all this stuff are. It's going to rely on talking to people, checking out everything that's in there. So I come into this town. The first thing I want to do, just from a pure logic perspective, is check everything out, see what's going on. So every building in this entire town is going to be something I want to check out. So the good thing is, there is still signage, there's still points of interest, but it's naturally ingrained in the world, it's not too gamey. I come over to the inn, naturally there's a sign. It's the Shrouded Hills Inn. Fantastic, I'm going to enter. So, we press on. And what's going on here? It looks like a pretty standard little inn that we've got here. There's a creepy ogre in here. So, that tells us a bit more about the world. We now know that ogres apparently coexist with the humans. And look at this. I mean, they're half ogres, so there's a couple of them here. And then we've got the bartender and we've got the innkeeper. So we're going to have a chat to the innkeeper. Greetings, good sir. I would like a room. I'll be in town for a while. Can you tell me about this ring I found? So this ring, this is something we found on our journey. So I've only previously played this for about 5 minutes. So this is something we found at the very start of the game. So this is going to give us something to break the ice, so to speak. Find out more what's going on, and the innkeeper, I'm sure, is going to give us a bit more information. So we're going to go with this one. Can you tell me about this ring I found? I'm no expert. Maybe you should talk to a merchant. I appreciate it. Now again, the merchant's not just marked on the map, so I can't just like, alright, let's press M. Let's see where he's going with there. I'm still going to have to explore the town to find this merchant. Now I know that there's something to kind of look for. I've got a bit of a goal in my quest that I'm going to go through. So I'm going to stay in this town. I'm going to stay in the room. So I would like a room for 1 week. The fee for 1 week is 175 coins. Let's have a look. Coins, I should say. Thank you. Here, give him the coins. Thank you, sir. You will find your room just down the hall. You'll have use of it for the next 7 nights. The door will be unlocked. I do hope you enjoy your stay. Thank you, Mr. Innkeeper. Now we do have the bar. Oh. Ah, yes, that's our companion. Now, the bartender here. How are you, sir? Hello, bartender. I'm going to nod my head in acknowledgement, so we're going to go about that. And anything newsworthy happening? Okay, so I saw Jacob Ben slouching around the Shrouded Hills Inn. I don't trust that man one bit, I'll tell you. I'll admit it's the most odd bit of dialogue that I've heard, because, I mean, we're in the inn, so it doesn't make sense. But I won't hold that against it. We're still allowed a few stupid moments, apparently. And you've been most gracious. Anything unusual? Is there anything else? It said no one knows more about exotic Rutez the Importer. So I like this in CRPGs and games like this, because rather than, once again, you just go on the minimap, find the quest icons, I go to the innkeeper, and I ask him what's going on around town, essentially, and he tells me. It feels really organic. It feels like something I might actually do if I went out to the middle of nowhere, and I wanted to know what was going on, if I was investigating something. I'm going to go and speak to someone who knows a lot of the locals and sees the goings-on. So I like that it's ingrained in the game. It adds to the immersion. It gets you thinking. He's given me a bit of a clue. That's something that's going to stick with me, and I'm sure in my travels, if I find this Rutez, then it's going to click. Ooh. He knows something about exotic objects. Fantastic. So that's basically how it goes. And I'm going to head off, and we're going to go down. He said our room was at the end of the hall, so once again, no quest arrows. None of that. I'm relying on what people are actually telling me in the game. He said it's at the end of the hall. Sounds really simple, but I can just tell you in just about any game you play now, it would be like, I've spoken to him, and then there'd be like an icon on the map telling me where I need to go, and then I would just follow that. There would be no like individual thinking of any kind, and that would be that.
Good God! What's happened here?
Oh dear.
Man, I've never seen them before.
Oh dear. So we've gone into this room, and I'm pretty sure I went in the right one, and there's a couple of people murdered, it looks like. So let's have a look. Okay, so he's got nothing on him. Nothing on him. But what is going on here? There's a chest in the room. There's some gold. I think we'll take that gold. You know what? That's going to be good. No one's going to be missing that, I don't think. Cool. Okay, but there is a murder that's gone on. So we need to... Apparently we need to explain ourselves? I don't know, but we need to get out of here. Oh, something is going on here. There's a conspiracy. It's a plot against us. So very quickly into the game, there's just a lot going on that's intriguing us. We've come through here. We've naturally followed what we're going to do. We've gone to the inn. We've handed over an item that we've pretty much had from the start of the game. And now it's opening up to us. There's more going on. Once again, we're curious. This town seems dangerous now. Like, I mean, we've gone to our inn room and there's 2 people murdered. What is going on here? And it's not just like throw a couple of bandits at us, we kill them, and we're on our way. It's sort of happening in the form of like a sort of a mini story and the fear of the unknown. We don't know what's going on exactly. We're going to have to find out. So Virgil, he's obviously telling us a bit more. He's kind of presenting that. And that's why Virgil's so good as a character. He's interesting in his own right. He's not like Navi or something from Ocarina of Time where he's just pestering you the whole time and it's really obvious it's just there to be like a tutorial mechanism. Virgil's his own character. He's in the game to really add to the story. He's got his own motives. He's got his own, basically, character arc. But he's also giving you a few things about the plot as you go along so it continues to make sense. is giving you some updates. It doesn't feel forced, though. They've done a really good job with that, and that's something I really love. It really carries through Shrouded Hills as well, and really sets up your adventure. But the key that I kind of want you to get out of this is just the fact that it's going to rely on exploring. It's not about just following markers around. I have to explore this town. Pretty much every single location that you're going to see on this map, that you're going to see around in Shrouded Hills, it's of interest. After you visit, so it's not tedious, they then mark where you've kind of been. So now I know, oh, it's Golo's Metalworks. Oh, fantastic. Oh, look, I've got the temple and I've got all of that. So they'll slowly mark things on the map as you go there. And that means you head back into the town. Maybe you've gone somewhere else in the world and you return. It's not annoying to navigate. It makes sense. But you get to see it all. And there's so much to do here. You've got the mine here, which gives you your first taste of real combat and real sort of dungeon crawl adventure style. There's a lot else that goes on. For example, there is a bank right here on the map. In this bank, you have to have some really great role-playing elements, you could kind of say, and I kind of mucked up the sentence, but you know what I mean. So basically, you go in there and there's like a whole bank robbery that goes on, and you've got to kind of make a choice, and it's really, really interesting. And all of these things are happening in just a very few small huts and locations in the game. There's so many quests here. There's reasons to come back to the town later on. It always stays relevant to some degree. You feel like it's there in the world. It's not just a place for you to adventure in your first 5 minutes and then you're on your way. So Shrouded Hills, it's absolutely one of my favourites. I wish I could keep going with this and show far, far more, but I don't want this to drag on. So I'll tell you what, this is worth playing if you haven't before. People who have enjoyed the game will know exactly what I'm talking about. This is Arcanum, this is Shrouded Hills, and yeah, I think that this is one of the best intro towns you're going to find in an RPG. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please comment, like, and subscribe. Thanks very much for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks again, and bye-bye.